Hello, welcome to the Opinionistics. I'm your host, John Milone, and we'll potentially have co-hosts, but if not, just go with the flow, yo. So, introducing from Sisterville, West Virginia, Dave Shelton.
Hello, how are you?
Going great. So,
Well,
tell
I could say hello from West Virginia, but that's not my normal accent.
Oh, okay, then what is your normal accent?
Yo, hello, I'm from New Jersey originally, all right? So this is how I normally talk.
Ah, interesting.
Actually, because I do voiceovers, I change it a lot so I could fool people.
Okay. Oh yeah, speaking of which, what kind of work do you do, Dave?
I do multiple of things. I'm a film and television writer, cartoonist, voice actor, musician, and author. And I ran for state delegate here in West Virginia. So there was a little bit of political background as well. But those other ones are my main source of income
Hmm, fabulous.
and
That's
pleasure.
cool. And how long have you been doing this for?
Pretty much my whole life. Most people will say adult life, but I think I've been doing it ever since I was, born. I think I was born into some people, they're born into certain aristocracies, into classes. I was born one to be nerdy, two to be creative. I think it just kind of was instilled in me somehow by God saying, you know, you're someone whose path is going to be in a creative field. And I've always had a love and I've always been drawn to it, excuse the expression. But I've just always loved entertaining people and making them laugh, or horror and writing horror, reading, doing anything I could to get things out creatively that, people will watch or listen to.
Hmm, very good. And out of the things you've done, what has been your favorite thus far?
And so much. They have done so much. Um, Working at National Lampoon. I was with them for almost 9 years as a senior writer and head of cartoons. I'd love that because when I was in college was when Animal House came out. And when I first saw it, and I was pledging a fraternity at the University of Florida. Excuse me. So when I saw that movie and I said, and I would read the magazine, I said, oh my gosh, one day I am going to be working for that company. Now, some people will put out predictions or fortune cookie type of resolutions, but I said, nope, someday my dream job is to work for that company. And years later, the opportunity was there and I took it. And that was one of my favorites. I got to work with Jamie Kennedy and Chris Farley was there. It was just a tremendous time. Also, working for Everybody Loves Raymond, I got to utilize my cartoon talents for that as well. I loved doing that, and the cast was amazing. Working at MTV, Nickelodeon. Now, as far as my own things, those were things I worked on for other people. I also did cartooning for Klasky Supo and Disney. I was a rock journalist for Tiger Beat. I mean, the list goes on. As far as my own work, working on my sitcoms Against Type and Professor Creepy Scream Party were two of my favorite projects. I actually got to work with Jeanette McCurdy before she got iCarly and blew up on Nickelodeon. So I love that. I just love working on things. So the fact that anything that I create is great for me. The books that I've come out with, I have a new children's book that's been winning awards called Bad Boy and Sweet Slob. That was a labor of love. That was based on my ex fiance and my life together. So that's personal, and I love that. So there's been so many projects that I've loved to work on. I really couldn't say just one.
You know, that's fair enough, because wow, that's a lot of things you've done. Incredible. That just blew my mind.
Well, that's why I have a book collection of my work from Lampoon called Brain Explosion because I don't get writer's block, and that's like insane. It definitely does not help when you're trying to sleep or get drunk, because then I think you don't get drunk because you're always thinking of what to do when you're sober. So, when you're drinking, it just kind of comes out more, just more creativity. And I go like, I can't drink because it's not helping. Not to let your audience know I'm an alcoholic. I'm just kidding. I don't need alcohol to be weird. I think my matrix was that way. Maybe my parents drank and it just I came out drunk. I don't remember, but I think I don't need it.
All right then, sounds good. And what other works you have done outside of being a cartoonist, writer, and being a voice actor?
You mean like weird jobs that I've had growing up to get here?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's a long list too. I was a circus clown. Let's see. I worked at a porno theater as a projectionist. That was interesting. I worked on a cruise ship. I was assistant social director, so I'd take people around the um, Caribbean and things like that and entertain them. Oh my God, I was Chuck E. Cheese until my head got sliced open. Uh, let's see, what other weird jobs have I had? Well, of course, like the typical ones, the paper boy, but I worked at a nursing home as a social director for them, and also a dishwasher. And I don't know where I found weirder things, at the porno theater or at the nursing home. I think there was a little of A and B on both. So those were some of the weird jobs. I caddied for the PGA one summer. That's the Professional Golfers Association. And I caddied for a blind singer, which was super weird. His name was Tom Sullivan. He was on Fame, and um, there it was very interesting because you know how people would just like kind of try to make people with disabilities feel better.
Mm-hmm.
He would hit the ball, and whether he missed it completely or shanked it or something, everyone would go, "Great shot, Tom!" And I think he kind of realized it with his hearing, but he still had fun doing it. It was fun caddying for him. Then I got to go see him. This was when I was in college, and go see him and Bob Newhart perform, which was really cool. And as I said, I've worked on so many different things, and I was very proud. I wrote a theme song for Special Olympics, so I do a lot with Down syndrome, and I love working with disability and disabled kids and actors, and I've used them in a lot of my projects. That and working with little people, I really love that too. So those
And
are some of the weird jobs. I've done a lot of paranormal stuff as well. I do, like ghost hunts, and I'm working on some of those as well.
okay, interesting. Now, how on earth were you a dishwasher? Like, how did that work?
Well, when you're in high school and you need a job, there was a nursing home near me, and I was 16, and that was the age that you could work in nursing homes. So, I mean, I had no idea. All I hear about back then was that there's a lot of old people in nursing homes, and it's kind of scary. But I said, you know what? I don't really get scared of things. So I just went in there, and boy, they threw everything at me, including the people's teeth. I found weird things in the trays. There were dentures, and not to mention that a lot of them couldn't eat anything harder than mush. So, yeah, let's just say there were some interesting things I found in there. But I
Hmm.
needed a job, so that's why I took it. It was actually fun because some of the other kids from my school worked there. So we tried to make it fun. We used to guess how some of the people that lived there, how much of the food they would finish and how much what they would leave in the plates, and we take bets on it.
Hmm. Very interesting.
Yeah, I'm very weird.
That's all right. It happens to a lot of people.
Yeah, you know, If people weren't nerds or weird, we wouldn't have Comic-Con, we wouldn't have Revenge of the Nerds, and some of the most creative people are in our ilk. Plus, very brainy. I
Oh yeah.
think we get a bad reputation, but as being weak. But I also played sports, so kids in high school didn't know what to do with me because I played sports. I was a broadcaster, um, doing radio shows, things like that. So the athletes couldn't beat me up, and the nerds respected me. And I also was with the AV club, so I was helping everybody with their projects. It was very
Hmm.
confusing.
Oh yes. I'm already confused right now, but yep, you still done it.
Well, good. I hope you're not someone who could beat me up.
Nah, no, I'm not that kind of. I'm not that kind of person at all.
Okay, good.
Yeah. What
But I,
hobby?
being from Jersey, I know a guy anyway.
Oh yeah, cool, cool. So, what hobby would you get into if time and money was not the issue?
Hobby wise, well, my work is considered hobbies to some. I mean, I play golf. I just got back from playing in Scott Baio's golf tournament in California. For your listening audience, I was in California for 30 years before I moved out here. And I just got so over the politics and the crime and the prices and traffic and everything else there after 30 years. And I moved my ex to New Jersey. Like, what ex does that? And then I said, you know what? I'm going to find a writing gig somewhere just for a few months and see what happens. So I put my stuff in storage, gave up my apartment, and I found one here in West Virginia, and I loved it out here so much, especially because I'm into the paranormal, that I decided to stay. And I just went back, got my stuff, stayed out here, and it's so free out here. Your thinking processes are not clogged. So I've come up with, and I've produced so many new things in the last 3 years I've been here than the last few years I was in LA. Like, I have a syndicated radio show called I've got a podcast called Bitching with Bitchy the Clown that's on Spotify and Apple, and we're turning that into a TV show. I've written scripts. I produced a film festival. I've been touring. I started a band. I've been doing a lot of music writing. So it's been really, really creative here. So, except for golf, maybe, and doing a lot of walking and going to cemeteries, I don't really have any other hobbies but my work.
Hmm. Very good. Nice to keep busy.
Absolutely.
Oh yes. What word or thing?
I think that, and also I'm very intuitive about people, so I've been paying a lot of attention to the people out here, and that's why I ran for government here, is because there was such a need and an empty void of anything of hope. So because they knew I did things, I started joining things here, and then I got asked to run for delegate. Unfortunately, there was such a poor turnout, and the guy who was the incumbent had a very sort of iffy past. More, he was very corrupt in his past. But the people here, there's a lot of old people. It's not a very young area. Uh, Mostly, I'd say retirees and above. So he won because he put out more lawn signs than I did. And I'm going like, that's ridiculous. So I'll probably run again in 2 years.
Okay. Very nice. What word or thing from the past do you think needs to make a comeback?
Who from the past?
Uh-huh.
Well, as a trend or a person? Like, would you want me to kind of say what trends would come back, or what kind of people, like an actor or
Anything.
a, oh, well, as you probably know, and most people, things cycle. Sadly, with the way the world is right now, I don't know what our future is, but because of the world of entertainment, most trends come from that, whether it's fashion or film, TV, things, music. I would love to see more new groups do metal. You know, you listen to these Sirius XM stations like Ozzy's Boneyard, which covers metal from the past. And any new albums that come out are from those kind of groups like Slaughter or Warrant and AC/DC. I would love to see more original metal make breakthrough. I'm so sick of rap and hip hop and these Cardi B type songs taking over music, and it's kind of destroying it, and it's not giving a chance for other bands to break through. So, even with streaming, it's very rare. That's why on my show, Cemetery Go Go, I play indie, I play new metal. I look for bands that aren't usually, out there, and because people just don't hear it. So I focus on them and then put them on my show. So I hope that comes back. I would love to see more psychedelic stuff from the 60s and 70s. Just cool things. I was listening to some of these new newscasts, and I always keep up on trends and things in the news. I hate that these modern woke, left wing cancel culture factions, which are such a minority, are taking our traditional icons and franchises and destroying them. Like, I'm sorry, but Velma is not gay. She's nerdy. And the fact that the new Scooby Doo is doing that. And then there's another Scooby Doo, which is coming from England, and they're making Shaggy black. Sorry, Shaggy isn't black. And I'm a huge Doctor Who fan. I've seen every Doctor Who up until when it regenerated to that female character. And now I'm seeing that the next Doctor Who is going to be black. And, let them create another character. That'd be like turning James Bond to like another color. He was a certain character. And they're doing that with all the characters, and nothing against black characters or anything, but they're changing everything. And I think for me, and I'm not racist or anything, but it wouldn't matter what it was turned to, whether it was an Arab or lesbian or something like that. A character exists and becomes successful because it's that character's background and the way it was created. So they're just changing everything to be woke. They did that with my high school mascot. We were the Cowboys, and they turned it into the Commanders or the Broncos or something because they said Cowboys were racist and sexist. We were the Cowboys for probably almost 55 years. So things like that, I do not like when they change those. Let them create new characters.
Hmm. That is quite unfortunate. But that's just how the world is. It's gotta find ways to deal with it or make a change to this world if we can.
Well, as I said, and the sad thing is, it's causing a lot of fans to leave those franchises. They're like, what's next? Charlie Brown's gonna become a serial killer. I mean, that would be, and he goes off and he kills Lucy first because she treated him badly. And you don't do that to an iconic character. So I would never do for any of my characters. I create a character with a personality trait and a look that needs to stay that look. I don't know if you've heard of Archie, like Archie Andrews and Jughead and another kind of legendary franchise. Well, they go off and kill Archie in a future comic book, like a story from a few years later. And I can't watch Archie now because I look at him with pathos, going like, "Oh no, Archie's gonna die in a few years. I feel so bad I can't save him."
Yeah,
And it's kind of like that.
yeah, absolutely. If you're going to sail around the world, what's the name of your boat?
I go around the world in a boat.
Uh-huh.
It would probably be the same thing I name all my other vehicles. The Snuggy Mobile boat, or in this case would be like the SS Snuggie after my character Snuggie Bear.
Hmm. Okay. Nice, nice. If you see a puddle on the ground, you just walk around it, over it, or just through it.
I'm sorry, what was that?
So if you see a puddle on the ground, you walk around it, over it, or through it.
Oh, through it, absolutely.
Hmm. Bit bold, but I like it.
Yeah, because it just shows, I think, a coward. It's like, I'm always someone that likes to get involved to help people, and I don't care what people think about me that way. I'll do if I think it's right and it's helping people. Like, I wouldn't be one to just stand around and let a bad thing happen to someone if I saw it happening.
Mm-hmm.
So the only way to do that is to step into the puddle and get your feet wet instead of going around and avoiding an issue or avoiding any confrontation.
Mm. Fabulous. Yeah, I agree. Why do you think Team Banana is the best team to be on?
Okay, for what team?
Team Banana.
Team
Or
Banana.
do you think Team Banana isn't that good?
Well, I've never really tried it, so I mean, I love bananas, but
As a
I
team?
couldn't even answer that question.
Well, it's all right. It happens to all of us. Not even I know why Team Banana is whatever. It's just a random question. It's thrown out there, you know?
Sure, sure, sure. Why not?
Yeah. Life life could be random at times. Just gotta go with it.
Oh, absolutely. I accept randomness,
Yeah.
random thoughts, random ideas, random bananas,
Mhm. And random,
puddles.
random.
That's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. What has been the highlight of your week?
My highlight of this week.
Uh-huh.
Well, first, it's being able to get up every day. That's kind of a highlight. Um, the highlight of the week was hosting the Trans Allegheny Insane Asylum Ball in Weston, West Virginia. That was a kick ass, off the charts, major, major bash. It was probably one of the coolest parties I've been to. And the Insane Asylum is really famous for being haunted. It was a mental institution for years. It was one of the few places where lobotomies were accepted and not questioned. And it's one of the most haunted places, as I said, and I loved it. Dank, and there were hundreds, probably like 1,000 people there, and I was emceeing and hosting, and I was a judge, and I got to sing Monster Mash with one of the bands, so that was really cool. So that and my book signing down at the West Virginia Book Festival for this week were probably my highlights. I mean, I have highlights all the time, but just for this week, those were my highlights.
Incredible. What takes a lot of time, but is definitely worth doing?
I'm sorry, you were breaking up there.
Oh, sorry about that. Just a second there.
Can you repeat the
What?
question?
Yeah, of course. Just found the question again. What takes a lot of time, but is totally worth doing?
What thing is worth doing?
What takes a lot of time, but is totally worth doing?
Oh, it takes a lot of time.
Uh-huh.
Uh, su- Succeeding, because in my industry, nothing is overnight unless you're born, into like a family where they have it. But succeeding and doing the best you can is always the most rewarding, and not taking shortcuts. That is so the most worthwhile thing to me and the most rewarding, but it totally takes the longest time.
Hmm. Okay. Fabulous. What's your favorite ice cream topping?
My favorite what?
Ice cream topping.
Uh, how about everything at the ice cream bar?
Okay. Sounds good.
I draw the line maybe at gummies, but everything else from sprinkles to chocolate syrup, to hard chocolate, to maraschinos, walnuts, pretty much everything else but the gummies.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. If you have to get rid of a holiday, which one would you get rid of?
One that I celebrate or one that just exists?
Any holiday that exists.
Okay, well, there's a few.
Okay.
Juneteenth. Juneteenth is one of them. Kwanzaa. Um, let's see. Cinco de Mayo. Let's see. What other useless holidays are there? I mean, those are some of the ones off the top of my head. I mean, I love the traditional ones like Christmas and Valentine's Day. Well, actually, you know what? I don't even think we need a Valentine's Day because, I think if you just need one day to tell the person you're with that you love them, just so you can go out and spend money on candy and everything, it's a total waste. So, yeah, I think Valentine's Day also.
Hmm. Okay. Pretty bold move, but I respect your courage.
What is that? I'm sorry.
A pretty bold move you've put out there, but I respect your courage.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
I,
Where?
I do speak my mind.
Okay, fair enough. I also speak my mind. Where do you see yourself 20 years from now?
Hopefully, not in a nursing home. Um, I would like to be doing what I'm doing, getting more of my projects done, um, doing things to help people. I'd like to see maybe myself in the state capitol as a delegate. I'd like to see that in a couple of years. Uh, I'd like to be touring around the world. I'd like to see some of my music being played in movies. I would just like to still be healthy enough to do what I'm doing. And I'd like to see it in a country that actually has some sanity to it because we are so insane right now with
Yeah,
everything going on. So I would like to see that in 20 years.
yeah, I certainly feel you with the whole insanity part. Um,
Absolutely.
yes, absolutely. And that is all we have for this episode. It was great having you here today, talking about your work as a cartoonist, voice actor, and your many various weird jobs in the past and everything else. It's been fabulous.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
it always keeps life interesting, doesn't it?
Yep. I mean, I can't argue with that. I respect
Right.
that.
Oh,
Yes.
and could I just let people know where they could find me?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, my website is snuggiebear.com, of course, SNUGGYBEAR.com. I'm on Facebook. Um, I don't use Twitter or TikTok or Instagram, but you can find them on that. And any of the project updates you can find on snuggiebear.com, links to the books, links to the radio shows, to the music, and things like that as well.
All right. Sounds good. And until next time, stay opinionated.